You are listening to Motivational Radio France with your host, Onyi Anyado in Paris. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very, very much. I am privileged to speak to one of Nigerian British. Could I say that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, a Nigerian British who is making waves in Britain, and he is a motivational speaker. His name is Anyado Onyi. Am I right?
Yes, Onyi Anyado.
Onyi Anyado. So he's going to speak about entrepreneurship today. Let's go. What is entrepreneurship?
Okay, good. Good day, Onyi. Thank you for having the show today. As you rightly said, my name is Onyi Anyado. I'm a double entrepreneur, Keynote and life coach, and I specialise in leadership, entrepreneurship, and youth impact coaching. So what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship has been around for, here in the UK for the last 400 or 500 years. The earliest definition was in 1700s. But then I realised that obviously that Africa was the cradle of that civilization. So the ancient Egyptians and the Africans in the Mesopotamia Valley were trading, were selling stuff, were selling products and services for products. So entrepreneurship, I mean, even from the early days of Abraham was around. So entrepreneurship, what is entrepreneur? In 2013, early this year, in February to be precise, I penned the following definition. An entrepreneur is a leader of excellence, trailblazer and pioneer who constantly brings change to their generation. I say again, an entrepreneur is a leader of excellence, trailblazer and pioneer who constantly brings change to their generation.
Okay, that is very profound, because entrepreneurs, you're trying to say that they bring change anywhere they go.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like a four facets attack, if that's the right word. They're leader of excellence, one, pioneer, a trailblazer, and they're a change agent. Constantly bring change. Okay.
Are entrepreneurs, are they born or made?
They're not born. I mean, any child, any baby that's born after 2 months, they can't even speak English, they can't even speak a language, so they're definitely not born. They're definitely made. I think they're made from their circumstances, they're made from their condition, they're made from their mindset, they're made from their upbringing, they're made from their desire, they're made from their passion, they're made from their friends, they're made from their country. So they're not made. They're not born. They're definitely made through circumstances, through choices, and through change.
Okay, so what is the main thing? Let us assume we have somebody listening who's about 10, 15 years old, and he wants to be an entrepreneur. What would you tell him?
Okay, the key element, I believe, for any entrepreneur is having a clear and defined vision that impacts the previous, the present, and the future generation. So if you're a 10-year-old in Lagos, a 15-year-old in Paris, or a 14-year-old in London, you need to have a clear and defined vision that will bring change to the previous, the present, and the future generation. So that can be a business, that could be a service, that could be a book, that could be a product, something that can bring change and help your generation.
Okay, that's wonderful. For you to have such vision, for you to have such vision at 10, do you think it's possible? Because you're saying from environment, from society and all the rest. Let us assume you come from a very poor background. How would you have such vision? And you want to be an entrepreneur?
I came from a very poor background, so I think your condition or your growing up can make or break you. I mean, there's many 10-year-olds that we read about who founded their own businesses, who are selling their business on the stock exchange at the age of 10.
Right.
So I don't think poverty should be a limit. In fact, it should be a stepping stone.
Okay, right. Because I do believe that something that makes you suffer sometimes becomes a blessing, right? Somehow I feel that suffering can become a blessing somehow, because it prepares you for the future.
Most definitely. Oh yes, I mean, as a young man myself, I suffered a lot. I went through a lot, but as I said, what was meant to beat me, I can take it and make it as a testimony. So usually what we're meant to do is take our mess into a message, our breakdown into breakthrough, and our test into testimony.
Right. Could I say that is one of the reasons why you are really bent on excellence? Could I say that?
Yes. I mean, if I'm not bent on excellence, I'll be bent by mediocrity.
Right. How would you tell it? Another 10 years. Let's take with 10, because it looks like we're possessed by 10. If a 10-year-old boy is listening to you now, 10-year-old girl is listening to you, and he's talking about excellence and making or breaking and all that, how would you get this into his heart? How would you tell him that he should take care of his heart and then do something with it?
Okay, so for a 10-year-old, obviously they're in primary school, maybe just starting.
Right, we're just taking an age, just maybe 10, 20, 25, 30, as the case may be.
I mean, for a 10-year-old, what is excellence to them is to do their homework and look over it at least 3 or 4 times. So you do your homework once, spend another 20 minutes, half an hour looking at it again. So it's as good as you can make it to be. In fact, it's not as good, it's as excellent excellence. That's excellence.
Okay.
That's making sure your room is tidy. When your parents are telling you to tidy up your room, make sure the socks, your boxer shorts, your shirt is in the place where it's meant to be. So when your parents come to your room, spotless. That's excellence.
Right. So could I say that your house is spotless now, as we're speaking?
Yes, it is. It's as tidy as it can be. But to be fair, I had a very lazy day. But yes, I wouldn't say spotless, but it's tidy. I can still raise the bar.
Okay, good. Just joking. All right. Okay.
It's a good question though, to be fair, because I'm looking around now. No, it's pretty tidy, but obviously with excellence, I can raise the bar.
Okay.
You caught me off guard there, anyway.
Okay, I know. Just pulling your legs, okay, your toes, maybe. Okay. Listen, are there skill sets one need to develop to become an entrepreneur? Are there skill sets? I mean, there are things we can spell out and say, if I do these things, it can lead me to become an entrepreneur tomorrow.
Yes, I think there's I mean, when I teach, because I speak and I train and I teach on entrepreneurship as well, I give 6 fundamental factors that I believe can make an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I speak about vision. There's vision, excellence, time management, creativity, determination, and goals. Vision, excellence, time management, creativity, determination, and goals. I believe them 6 principles, if you run with it and activate it on a daily basis, you can at turn become not just an entrepreneur, but an entrepreneur of distinction.
That's cool. That's very, very high. I'm sure your listeners will say, hey, where is this man coming from? Come on. That's great. So just take one of them, for example, vision. Give us a little bit of that.
Okay, so for example, when I teach and I tell people to become an entrepreneur of distinction, you need a long-term vision. And when I mean long-term, I believe minimum a 5-year clear and defined vision. For example, here in the UK, got a deposit on a house and you can get a 25-year mortgage. That's somebody's long-range vision. Even though the person not own the house yet, that's a long-term vision.
Right.
We can sign up to a contract for mobile phone. That's a 2-year contract. That's a 2-year vision. We can get life insurance for 20 years, 10 years. That's a long-term vision. So if we can always sign up and pay and get contracts for someone else's vision, as entrepreneurs, we need to have a clear and defined vision across the board. As an entrepreneur really is a business person, so you need to have a clear and defined vision. Even as a student, you need to have a clear and defined vision. For example, we spoke about a 10-year-old. If you're a 10-year-old, you've got to start thinking, okay, what secondary school, what college, what do I want to study, what do I want to be in life? Because the seeds that you sow today, you can achieve the harvest in 5 years' time, in 3 years' time. And that's the principle, having a long-term, clear and defined vision, that even if you're blindfolded in the dark, you can still see your vision. Okay, good.
That I understand that. I still want to ask, do we learn these skills? Are these skills learned in schools, or you have to, your parents have to teach you, for example, if you're a small person, if you're a small kid?
Unfortunately, the education system, not only in the UK, well, I mean, there's a lot of changes happening anyway, but I think, unfortunately, it doesn't encourage life skills, about vision, about purpose, about being passionate about your gifts and nurturing talent. So I believe, institutions like myself, Onyi Anyado Media House, we always teach people how to think outside of the box. But no, unfortunately, I don't think the education system around the world really encourages that much life skills about purpose and about vision.
Okay, that's the negative aspect of the whole thing, because if anybody who does not have the skill set might find it very difficult to navigate through life.
Yeah, I believe the skill set is vitally important, because if not, you can get 5 degrees, get a master's degrees, and still be unemployed, running around scratching your head thinking what's happening. So I believe from an early age it's important to be implemented, from a very early.
Fair, okay. How early? 5, 10, 12?
I as early as 5, for the fact that reports are suggesting that 5-year-olds now know how to use the iPad. So if a 5-year-old can actually pick up an iPad and use a piece of technology, an iPad such as an iPad, then why not? Why not we ask them, Johnny, Michelle, what do you want to be? What's your passion? What's your gifts? Because if you can use an iPad, surely they must understand what their gifts and passion is.
That's right. Okay, that's great. Now, let me ask you the next question. Does becoming an entrepreneur guarantee success? If yes, could you give us, our listeners, a practical example on the steps to follow?
Okay, very good question. I think success has to be quantified. My success and your success are 2 different things. So once a entrepreneur has a vision, it could be, for example, to open up a clothes shop, for example. Right. Their success really has to be coming. The first level of success is to think of a name, register your company. That's levels of success. The next step will be open up the branch, marketing. That's different levels of success. The only way you're going to be successful is if you write and achieve. That's a level of success. Remember, my success and your success are completely different.
Sure. Okay, so writing it out and then taking it through.
Oh yes, and then you're successful. For example, one of my goals today, one of my visions today was to send a few emails and make quite a few phone calls. I ticked off my goals and I achieved. It was very straightforward, very simple, and I had a success.
To say, because even from your voice, I can hear the seriousness. I can hear that seriousness. Let us say, yes, you don't laugh. Let's say somebody who's not, come on, you're still laughing. Well, somebody who's not like you, somebody who's not that straightforward, who doesn't have that conquering heart. How would you ginger that person?
If you don't achieve your vision, I always tell people, if you don't achieve your vision, someone else is going to achieve. If you don't write that book, someone else is going to write it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't lose weight, someone else you're gonna be eating in a fast food restaurant and seeing someone slim and walking past, thinking, oh my gosh, if only that could have been me. So if you don't achieve that vision, have that determination, like we spoke about earlier, that passion to achieve your vision, then no one else is going to do it. I mean, I'm a life coach. I do a lot of personal life coaching. But at the same time, there's only so much I can do. So it's down to the individual, how much they really want it, how hungry are they for it.
Okay, so everything depends on the individual, right? So
Yes.
you're saying that somehow our success depends on us, the individual.
Oh yeah, without any shadow of a doubt. I mean, I can give an example. My first book I wrote, and I've written 8 books, self-published 2. The third one's coming out soon. My first book I wrote without a laptop or any money. I didn't have a penny to my name, not one single pound to my name. I didn't have a laptop, but I still managed to step out in faith, write my book. I used scrap paper. Imagine I waited until I could have money to buy paper. I used scrap paper. I went to different internet cafes, asking them, literally begging them, can I use your computer? I didn't have no money, let alone my own laptop, but I still managed to write a book. But if I didn't take that step, no one else is going to write it.
Okay, so it still boils down to whole thing that you really, everything that happens to you depends on your reactions.
Oh yes. How much do you really want? And it's not going to be easy to achieve that vision or write that book or start that business or lose weight. But if you don't do it, then who's going to do it for you?
So in one word, you're saying it is one thing to have a vision and nothing to act on your vision.
Oh yes. I mean, let's take the 10-year-old again, the famous 10-year-old.
Right.
Mum will say, Johnny, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a pharmacist, for example. Okay, brilliant, congratulations. And the mum gives him a kiss, and he writes it on his wall. And for 10 years, he's living at home. They're still on the wall. He doesn't go to college. He doesn't do well at school. Just lazes around. He doesn't do nothing. But another 10-year-old say, I want to be a pharmacist. But from 10 years of age, his mummy is telling him to read pharmacist journals, planning out, okay, what's the best colleges, what's the best schools, what's the best universities, how much time do I need to put into becoming a pharmacist? And that's what will distinguish you from becoming a pharmacist and not becoming a pharmacist.
Okay, so the amount of work and determination you have determines what you get.
Without any shadow of a doubt.
Okay.
There's many speakers out there. I believe that in my generation, in my community, no speakers are doing what I'm doing because I'm putting the work in.
Okay, so you're special. Are you going to say that?
Obviously, I'm special, but I like to call myself distinguished. I'm a distinguished speaker. I've put in the work in. I've raised the bar of excellence. I've had a clear and defined vision, and I've said no to mediocrity. Made up my mind.
Did you learn this in school? Let's dig into that. How did you come into this excellent thing? What was it? How did you come to this level?
I certainly didn't learn it in school. I mean, I went to school. I done pretty well. Didn't do that great. Certainly didn't do it in college. College was just a runaround. I went to university. I didn't even finish university. It's not until I became a Christian that, I began reading the Bible, going to church, and I understood about the principle about excellence, because excellence is a universal thing as well as a biblical thing. And then I realized that I led a life of mediocrity. I led a life of no purpose. So if I'm a new creature, new creation, and I'm on another level in life, I can't be mediocre. In fact, I despise mediocrity. I despise it with a passion. I despise it.
Wow.
I was mediocre.
So could you say it's the Bible that turned it on, or you're becoming a Christian, or what is it? What was that one thing that really changed the whole thing for you?
Certainly becoming a Christian. The 2nd of November 2008, I became a born-again Christian, and my journey began again. Or my journey began, I should say.
So if you, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to become excellent tomorrow, please become a born-again Christian by Anyado. Could we say that?
Well, first and foremost, if you want to become a born-again Christian, yes, you become a born-again Christian. But there's many mediocre born-again Christians.
That's what I'm saying, you see, because I have seen so many of them, and that, yeah. I mean, there's a discrepancy here. So is it a personal thing, or is it a universal thing?
Is a personal thing. I mean, I didn't have to I've raised the bar so high that even my competitors have raised their hand in surrender. I raised the bar so high.
So you're very hard on yourself. Is that what you're saying?
I have to be, because I'm now a reference point and blessing my generation. So it's not just for me. Once you get to a point in life when you realize that your vision, gifts, your talent, it's not about you. It's about serving your generation. It's about serving your community. It's about serving the previous, the present, and the future generations. And how can I do that mediocre? It's not fair on them. So when I rise up to new levels of excellence, people that are following me or watching me rise up to new levels of excellence as well. That's why I once said a famous quote that many people say, and I said, when you walk in excellence, the people around you will begin to step up to excellence, knowing they have been in a comfort zone for far too long. The people around them will also step up, and before you know it, there is a generation of people who have stepped out of their comfort zone and into new realms of excellence.
Just by the way, just by following you, right?
I'll say again.
Okay, go ahead.
When you walk in excellence, people around you will begin to step up to excellence, knowing they have been in a comfort zone for far too long. The people around them will also step up, and before you know it, there is a generation of people who have stepped out of their comfort zone and into new realms of excellence.
Okay, very profound, I guess. That's very profound. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to an excellent human being. So it's very heartwarming that I'm speaking to a very excellent man. Very good. Now, listen, there are lots of youths listening to us down there in Lagos or anywhere in Nigeria and around Africa and in the world. What would you tell any youth anywhere on this planet? What is the first thing to do to become an entrepreneur?
Have a clear and defined vision. What do you want to be in life? What do you want to be in life? Is it a doctor? Is it a footballer? Is it a lawyer? Is it a speaker? Is it an author? Is it a businessman? If it's a businessman or businesswoman, what business? What do you want to be in life? Because if you don't know what you're going to be in life, it's going to end up a wandering generality, rather a wonder to your generation. So my point to every young person, listen to this around the world. What do you want to be in life? That's the key. What's your vision? What's your dream? What's your passion? You need to identify it and find it. Begin to run.
Great. Right. That was awesome. I love every bit of what you have just said, and I guess our listeners will also key into this story and maybe look around and see their life and try to change if there are room for changes, because I believe that anybody can turn his or her life around if you know exactly what you want.
Oh yes, I did. I made up my mind. I as a young man, I still am young, I lived a street life where 6 of my friends got shot dead. I nearly got shot dead, so I lived that life. I lived that life. I've been there and done it, and I was fed up of being fed up. Sometimes as young people, you have to be fed up of being fed up.
Okay.
You have to be.
Right. Do you have anything again you wanted to speak about on entrepreneurship before we go to leadership?
Yes, as I said, right now the world once again is embracing entrepreneurship. I believe for any human being, whether they're white, black, young, old, rich or poor, this is the greatest opportunity in the history of time to really embrace the whole entrepreneurship. Who is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is a leader of excellence, trailblazer and pioneer, constantly brings change to a generation. To be remembered for anything, be remembered for becoming a visionary leader, becoming an entrepreneur of distinction. Bless your generation with your gifts, with your vision. Because if you're not blessing your generation, you're going to end up being a burden to your generation.
Okay, this podcast was brought to you by the Motivational Radio France with their host, Lonjago and Paris.